Hi, Misha here, and we have another model plus gun partnership, and this is really one of the things I enjoy. We have the Japanese Mitsubishi A6M, known officially to the Americans as the Zeke, but often called by its nickname Zero, which stems from its Navy designation of the Type 0 fighter for its year of introduction. I actually have two examples here for you. These are both from Corgi 172 scale diecast. They're very similar. One is A6M2. One of them is an A6M3. And the only real difference is the M3 has an uprated engine, and because of that the fuselage and the wings were redesigned a bit, but to the just casual look they're very similar. Now, what would have been carried by a pilot is this famous or infamous gun. This is the Type 94 Nambu pistol, chambered for 8x22 Nambu. There's a lot of myths and tall tales about this gun, but the reality is it was created specifically for pilots and tank crews and the like. And so it would have been on the hips of pilots of a Zero. Could have been anyway. Well, I mean, the Zero fighter is definitely the most famous Japanese aircraft of all time. It was tested out in 1939 and was officially adopted into the Japanese Navy in 1940, which was essentially year zero. Well, the last digit was zero, hence the name. In the Japanese calendar, it would have actually been the year 2600. This would be the most produced Japanese fighter of the war. They would make nearly 11,000. And it was designed to have range, endurance, because again it's a naval fighter. And because of that, it was made to be very lightweight. They used a new type of aluminum alloy in it. There was very little armor, did not have self-sealing fuel tanks, a decision which would limit the plane. The pilot had a small cockpit, so what weight they could afford was taken up by the armament. It would have two 20mm cannon, two 7.7 millimeter machine guns, and could carry a couple of 500-pound bombs, although it rarely did. When this was adopted, it was probably the most advanced aircraft in any Navy, but time would catch up with it. But early on, 1941-42, the A6M would dominate against American fighters such as the F-4F Wildcat, definitely the F-2 Brewster Buffalo, and it would even give the F-4U and the later F-6F Hellcat a run for their money, but by the time of the Hellcat, American planes were catching up. Production would last until the end of the war, as would service, meaning this was really only in service from 1940 to 1945, but it made a major impression during that war. It's a pretty conventional prop plane, monowing of course, just designed to be light with high speed and long range, because again, Navy. There were ground, land-based versions as well. And any pilot would need to carry a sidearm in the war. And the standard Japanese pistol, the Type 14 Nambu, to look at it you wouldn't think so because of how kind of slim it is, but it's actually quite a long pistol. It's actually longer than the US 1911. It's just the 1911 is bulkier. In 1934, Nagoya's company developed this gun here as a more compact and also more reliable and durable alternative to the Type 14. It was never meant to replace the Type 14. The Type 14 was kind of a general ground issue service gun. This, as I said, was meant for more vehicle crews, tanks, truck drivers, and of course aircraft crewmen, pilots and gunners and the like. It is significantly shorter with a much smaller grip than the 14. One of the failures of the Type 14 was its trigger system. It had a very nice trigger, but it was striker fired. The striker could easily break or wear out and not hit the primer with enough force. This went to a hammer fired system, which of course the trigger wasn't as nice, but it was more reliable. One other sacrifice they made, it has a 6-round mag as opposed to 8, but as a defensive gun, it doesn't really matter. And of course, it's got a shorter barrel and all that. It's actually a very compact, very nice little gun. What it's most famously known for is, of course, this. The exposed sear. It's not the only pistol to have it, it's just the most famous. It was said, of course there's no, yeah, they do this. There's not a bolt hold open, it's just your mag, by the way. So that's correct. All of them this relate to this action. When it's here, you can fire the pistol without pulling the trigger. The thing is, this is recessed, and when the safety's on, it physically blocks it. You'd have to break the safety for it to happen. So most pilots would, of course, not have one in the chamber, or if they did, at least have their safety on. It also has an out of battery safety. Trigger can't be pulled unless the magazine's in. So I did that, okay, for its day and time. Of course, a lot of myths sprung up around this quote-unquote feature. Most are easily disproven, all are more or less untrue. This was something that was done to allow the pistol to be as compact as possible. They just didn't have the space to put a completely internal sear bar inside. And for the most part, you never read the Japanese complaining, and you never really read the Japanese injuring themselves by accidentally discharging. Funnily enough, you do read stories with the original Type 14 of them taking the mag out, thinking the gun's unloaded, and then shooting themselves or someone else early on in the Chinese campaign in the early 30s, hence the magazine disconnect safety. So that was an issue you can read about. But of course, these troops at that time were used to revolvers. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's a gun I really like. They're kind of undervalued. They didn't make very many of these, only about 71 to 72,000 during the war. We have a full video or 2, or maybe even 3 on this gun, showing you all the variants from the early one. This gun here was made just before Pearl Harbor. And then we also show you some late war, kind of last ditch guns. Check that out if you're interested. That's on this channel here. And if you're interested in fun little die-cast 172 scale models, check out my personal channel over at Misha, M-I-S-H-A, where I have several historical type reviews and discussions about these. I cover Japanese, American, British. I really like British, Russian, and they're fun. I go over Corgi here, I go over Hobbymaster, Air Force One, and really whatever the hell else I feel like. But it's a nice cross-section of firearms and models, and the responses on the first few videos we've done were positive, so we thought we'd just kind of offer you another overview. These Corgi models here are actually quite inexpensive. They're only about 20 bucks, and they're very solid metal. They don't have features really, like up landing gear, up down. They're just, pretty much static. The propellers do spin though, which most of the other cheaper models they don't. So that's nice. But yeah, I appreciate you tuning into this. And again, if you're interested in either one, you can check out my personal channel for model reviews, or you can check on the Japanese playlist for a more detailed history of this gun, or the Arisaka, or whatever else, maybe a baby Nambu. If you have any questions or comments, please do post them below. If you could, like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to help support the channel, check out the link to our Patreon page. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon next time.